Is clear right away. Rounding is a method that we use when we estimate. Why do we estimate? What is estimating? Why do we do it? Josiah. No. Don't say guessing. You say guessing and people get the wrong idea. Can you rephrase that using a different word besides guessing? Lucas. Okay. Mason. And not only that, but do it in a way that should be fairly easy for you to do that. Get your arm off his desk. He doesn't want your arm on his desk. Do you want his arm on your desk? See? He's just too polite. You estimate when you have money in your pocket and you have cash and you go shopping. How do you estimate when you have money in your pocket, cash, and you go shopping? How is it that you estimate? Yes. Then why would you estimate? You're right. You don't add the cents in your head. And so if something costs $19.95, you would say like $20. Why do you do that when you go shopping and you have cash in your pocket? Why do you think about that instead of just grabbing stuff off the shelf and throwing it in your cart? Yeah, you don't want to get up to the register with not enough money to cover what you have in your cart. It's embarrassing, or it should be embarrassing. Okay? So you estimate all the time. I have this much money. I need to make sure that I have enough money to cover what I want to buy. You estimate when you take on any new bills. You estimate how much time it's going to take you to get ready in the morning. I mean, all these things don't always have to be exact, okay? Why do you estimate for math? Why do they have you do that for math? Tyler. So when you do the actual work and when you do find the exact, if you have an estimate that you thought about beforehand, your exact answer should be somewhere close to that estimate, right? And if it's not, then what? You did something wrong, and then you should go back and try to figure out what it was, right? So we use it as a tool to help us, you know, it's supposed to be quick, it's supposed to be somewhat accurate, but you're not supposed to, in my opinion, you're not supposed to necessarily break your brain trying to do it. I mean, that's what makes estimation so great. Now, there can sometimes be a wide range of acceptable estimates, and sometimes if you use certain methods, there's only certain estimates that work. First one that we talk about is rounding. Okay? And you will be asked sometimes to round to the underlined place. So they give you a number like they do on the guided practice, like this, okay? Which would be what? 1,282 10,000s, right? And they have the 1 underlined. Without telling you exactly what place do they want you to round to if they underline the 1? Fred. What is this place? 10th. So you're rounding to the nearest 10th. Okay? So they're actually making it even easier for you. If they told you round to the nearest 10th, you'd have to identify the 10th place and then round from there. Here they just underline something and say, okay, round to that. What's the process? All you have to do is look at the number that comes directly after it. Which numbers in this have nothing to do with your rounding strategy? Which ones have nothing to do with it? These are no longer matter. You don't need them. All you focus on is right after. And what's the rule? What's the rule to determine if this 1 that you're rounding to goes up to 2 or if it stays at 1? What's the rule? 5 or greater. Is this a 5 or greater? Therefore, our final answer should be 0. What? This one. Do you need to add all these zeros afterwards to account for all these? No. If they only want you to round to that place, that's all they are asking. Then you're done. All you use the numbers after the underlined place for is you only use the one directly after, and you only use that one to find out if that underlined one changes. That's the only thing. What's the matter? Not yet. Not for another 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, so try one. Now, watch. Watch, please. What place is underlined is the tens place. Okay? Now, the first example we had with the decimal, decimals work a little bit differently than whole numbers do. The decimal that we worked with, I didn't need anything in front because there was really nothing there. Remember, it was what? It was 0.1. That's why I didn't need it. It was still a 0. This is a little bit different. All I need to look at right now is a number that comes after the tens place. It's a 5. So if this is a 5, what happens to my 6? Fred? It becomes a 7, right? We round up. But I also need to make sure that I don't forget about that 400, right? I'm only rounding to the nearest 10. And I have to take this all the way to the decimal. So 407. Think logically about it. If I said, I'm going to take that same number, I'm just going to put a dollar sign in front of it, I'm going to apply some cents to the back of it. I said, okay, you had $465.30. Maybe you had a good Christmas, graduation, whatever. Now look at some of the estimates, look at some of what you had down there. Would you ever say to someone that you had, 4.7? I had a great Christmas. I got $4.70. Okay. Is 470 a reasonable estimate for $465.30? Yeah, I got about $470. Is that reasonable? The other one I saw a lot of was people thinking that this was 500. The only way this would be 500 is if we were rounding to the nearest 100 and I looked at the 6. Then it would be 500. Okay? I saw a lot of people attach this 0.3 to the back of it. Just like here, after we looked at the number after the place I was rounding to, everything else went bye-bye. Same thing here. After I look at this place here, everything else after it goes bye-bye, including this will eventually go bye-bye too. But I just had to substitute it for a 0 because I had to take it all the way to the decimal. Why do you need the 0? Because this needs to be 470. If you have 47, how does your estimate go from, how does your amount from 465 just drop down to 47? Are those two different amounts? Big time. So you got to be careful. We'll shake the rust off. Okay. Now, I said that there were going to be sometimes special cases. At least that's what I said to CJ. So if we look at what we have there, and then we have the 10th place underlined again, the number after the 10th place happens to be a 5. Okay? So the 9 is going to have to round up, right? What's the next value if we go up from 9? 10, not 1. Careful, not 1. It's 10. So what happens is I have to carry that 1 for the 10 and that's now a 0. So essentially what you have left is 2. You could say 2.0 if you wanted to. It's the same thing. Because that 5 makes that 9 run up to 10, then I carry that 1 from that 10 into that 1's column, into that column that's right next to it, make it a 2. That's now a 0. There are sometimes special cases like that. Okay. Technically, you don't need that. Nope. So if you had just 2, you're totally fine. Okay. I'm just showing you here that you could, if it helps you keep track of this extra 0 for the 10. Okay. Let's see. $57,497 round to the nearest 10. Okay, so if I look at my underlined place, okay, I look behind the 9, it's the 7. 7 is a 5 or bigger, I got to round up. Now round up to 10, right? That's also going to make this another one, which is going to be the 500. If I go up 1 from the 9, it's going to change that also, because that's going to change to 10 too. Okay, so 57,500 is what you have for that one. Yes? No, you can't round 2 places, just only 1. Okay? Let's do this. Take one, pass it back.